Hello everyone, and welcome to my CBS YNR Full Today channel. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Can a legend really be erased by a single shadow? Or is this the moment Nikki Newman finally loses the one thing she could never buy back? For decades, she's been the eyes and ears of Genoa City high society, but now, the lights are going out in the most literal and terrifying way possible. Is this a permanent exit from the world of sight? Or just another chapter in a never-ending cycle of Newman trauma? We've all seen Nikki survive the unthinkable, from cults and kidnappings to the very bottom of a bottle, but what's happening right now feels different, and honestly, it feels predatory. For weeks, we've watched her wince through these excruciating headaches, and I think many of us probably dismissed it as just another stress-related plot device. But the writers aren't playing fair this time. They've traded the slow decline for a sudden and absolute eclipse. Think about the timing here, because it's basically psychological warfare. By giving Nikki these symptoms while she's already at odds with Victor, the show has created a situation where her health is now a weapon of her own pride. She didn't seek help sooner because, in the Newman world, admitting you have a headache is like admitting there's a crack in your armor. It's a tragic irony that the woman who has everything is about to lose the ability to see any of it. Let's talk about that diagnosis for a second, because it is a masterclass in soap opera cruelty. We aren't just looking at a flare-up of her multiple sclerosis, which would have been the easy way out for the script. Instead, the specialist drops the T-word, a brain mass, specifically a tumor pressing directly against her optic nerve. This mass is a physical manifestation of the pressure she's been under for years. It's as if all the secrets, the corporate wars, and the family infighting finally turned into something deadly. Internally, Nikki isn't just feeling pain, she's feeling a profound sense of betrayal by her own body. When the darkness hit her in that hospital room, that raw, guttural scream we heard wasn't just for her lost sight. It was the sound of a woman losing her autonomy. She is terrified of being a burden. Think about it. Nikki has spent her entire life climbing from the wrong side of the tracks to become a socialite queen. To her, being blind isn't just a disability, it's a regression. It's the fear that if she can't see the world, and specifically Victor, will stop seeing her as an equal and start seeing her as a patient. I want to look at this from a different angle. While the show presents this as a tragedy, it's actually a forced reset for the Newman family. For years, Nikki and Victor have been trapped in this cycle of ego and making up. This tumor is effectively a narrative pause button. It strips away the business deals and the petty jealousies over Jack Abbott and forces them into a space of pure mortality. It's a unique angle. The tumor might be the only thing in Genoa City powerful enough to make Victor Newman stop looking at a balance sheet and start looking at his wife's soul, even if she can't look back. In my opinion, Nikki's decision to hide this from Victor is both her most heroic and her most misguided move in decades. I totally get her desire to keep her dignity. Nobody wants to be a pity project for their spouse. However, it is incredibly selfish to keep this from her family when the stakes are literally life and death. She is playing a dangerous game with her survival just to win a point in a marriage argument. It's frustrating to watch Victoria be the only one carrying this burden. Honestly, it's asking too much of her daughter to lie to the man who effectively runs their entire world. Psychologically, Nikki is suffering from what I call a control paradox. Because her health is out of her control, she is obsessively controlling the information about her health. This is a trauma response from her childhood, back when she had to kill her father in self-defense. She learned early that the world is a predatory place and that showing weakness is an invitation for disaster. Her ego is so intertwined with her image as the bulletproof Newman matriarch that she would rather go blind in secret than be seen as vulnerable in public. It's a classic case of a character whose greatest strength, her resilience, has become her greatest psychological prison. The tension is ratcheting up to an unbearable degree because this secret is already leaking like a sieve. We have Claire Newman, well-meaning, but totally out of her depth, already dropping hints to Victor about Nikki's headaches during brunch at the GCAC. Victor isn't a fool, he smells blood in the water. When the mustache starts pulling a thread, He doesn't stop until the whole tapestry is unraveled. The conflict here isn't just the tumor, it's the inevitable collision between Nikki's desperate need for privacy and Victor's pathological need to fix everything and everyone he owns. And let's not forget the medical escalation. The doctor was very clear: surgery is the best option, but the surgery itself could be the very thing that makes the blindness permanent. Nikki is standing on the edge of a cliff where both staying still and jumping lead to the same dark abyss. I'm predicting a massive fallout that will redefine the Newman ranch for years. First, Victor is going to find out, not from Nikki, but likely by cornering Nate Hastings or finding the scans himself. The emotional explosion will be nuclear. Victor will feel betrayed that she didn't trust him, and he will respond the only way he knows how, by overcompensating with resources. Expect the ranch to be turned into a private hospital wing, effectively turning Nikki into a gilded prisoner of her own care. Long term, if the writers actually have the guts to keep her blind, we're going to see a Nikki 2.0 who has to navigate the corporate world of Newman Enterprises using her other senses. It would be a fascinating evolution for a character who has traditionally relied so much on her physical presence and luminous beauty. However, this is the young and the restless, so my miracle prediction is that Victor will fly in a specialist from the crossover with Beyond the Gates to perform a high-risk procedure that restores her sight just in time for a vow renewal. But the scars on their marriage? Those will be permanent. While all this is happening, the show is throwing other chaos at us. Jack Abbott is currently playing a dangerous game of house with Patty Williams. He's so focused on saving Diane that he might miss the fact that one of his closest lifelong friends is literally going into the dark. Jack and Nikki have such a deep history, having been married and sharing the loss of a child. If he's too busy being manipulated by Patty to be there for Nikki, it's going to add another layer of guilt to his story. And then there's Diane Jenkins, who is basically a hostage in Dr. Markham's house, trying to use her charm and his ego to escape. It's wild to see the contrast. While Nikki is losing her vision and shutting people out, Diane is wide-eyed and using every observation she can to find a way out. The funny thing is, the show is juggling so many missing or hidden people right now. You have Diane hidden away, Nikki hiding her health, and Victor hiding his true intentions with Matt Clark. It's like a theme of invisibility. If Nikki does lose her sight permanently, she will be the only one who truly sees the family for what they are because she won't be distracted by the glamour. But let's be real, do we think Victor can handle a wife who is more powerful because of her vulnerability? He loves to be the protector, the one who buys the cure. If there is no cure, his entire identity as the all-powerful Victor Newman is under threat. I need to hear from you guys in the comments because this is a heated one. Do you think Nikki is being brave by keeping her diagnosis from Victor, or is she being incredibly selfish by putting her pride above her family's right to know? And given her history with MS and alcoholism, is this deadly diagnosis one trauma too many? Or is this the kind of high-stakes drama she needs to remain the show's centerpiece? Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next breakdown, because things in Genoa City are about to get very, very dark. Don't forget to like this video and tell me your wildest theories on how Victor is going to react when he finally sees those scans. I'll see you in the next one where we'll be talking all about Diane's escape plan and whether Jack finally loses his mind. The way the writers have structured this is actually pretty clever if you think about it. By having Claire be the one to leak the news, they are putting the newest Newman in the middle of the oldest Newman conflict. Claire just wants her grandparents to be happy, but she's accidentally detonated a bomb. It makes me wonder if Claire will eventually become Nikki's eyes if this blindness lasts. Imagine Claire becoming the most essential person at the ranch because she's the only one Nikki trusts to guide her. That would certainly put Victoria's nose out of joint, wouldn't it? And what about Nick? He's currently dealing with his own mess, and there are spoilers suggesting he might even have a relapse of his own. If the Newman children are falling apart just as their mother is facing a life-threatening crisis, Victor is going to be fighting a war on 3 different fronts. He's trying to destroy Kane Ashby, save his wife, and keep his son from spiraling. Even for the mustache, that's a lot of plates to spin. It really feels like the foundation of the Newman family is being tested in a way we haven't seen in years. Usually, they have an external enemy like Jack or an interloper, but this time, the enemies are internal, a tumor, an addiction, and a secret. Well, think about it. If Nikki goes through with the surgery and it fails, we are looking at a completely different show. Melody Thomas Scott has played this character for over 40 years, and she's said herself that she loves the high drama and catastrophes. This might be her most challenging performance yet. Seeing her play the vulnerability of total blindness while still trying to maintain the Nikki Newman poise is going to be heartbreaking. You can already see the fear in her eyes even before the darkness fully takes over. It's the kind of storytelling that makes you remember why you started watching soaps in the first place. It's not just about who's sleeping with whom, it's about these icons facing the things we all fear most: loss of health, loss of control, and the fear of being forgotten. The doctor, Lawrence Markham, is also an interesting piece of this puzzle. He's working for Patty, but he's also the one Jack is trying to track. Is it possible his medical knowledge might somehow intersect with Nikki's case? In Genoa City, the world is very small. We already know Nate Hastings is getting pulled back into the medical world to help with Nikki's scans. Nate has been through his own ringer lately, and being the one to confirm Nikki's grim fate might be what finally grounds him again. It's almost like the show is using Nikki's illness to fix all the other characters' problems, which is a bit of a classic soap trope, isn't it? Honestly, though, my heart just breaks for Nikki in that hospital bed. No matter how much money you have, you can't negotiate with a tumor on your optic nerve. And Victor's response, filling the ranch with flowers and trying to buy his way back into her heart, it's so classic Victor. He doesn't know how to just be with her in the pain, he has to change the environment. He thinks if the room looks beautiful, she'll feel better, forgetting that she can't even see the flowers he's bought. It's a tragic, beautiful, and completely messed up situation. That resilience has defined her character for decades and helped transform her from a troubled young woman into one of Genoa City's most powerful and respected figures. But the crisis unfolding now feels fundamentally different from anything Nikki has faced before. This is not an enemy she can outsmart, a rival she can defeat, or a family conflict she can manipulate into submission. Instead, she is confronting something deeply personal and frightening: the possibility of losing her sight and, with it, the independence that has shaped her entire identity. The storyline surrounding Nikki's worsening headaches has been building slowly, creating a sense of unease that many viewers initially overlooked. In soap operas, headaches are often used as temporary plot devices, symptoms that eventually lead to a brief hospital stay and a dramatic recovery. However, this situation quickly escalates into something far more serious. The revelation that Nikki may be suffering from a brain tumor pressing against her optic nerve raises the stakes dramatically. Suddenly, every headache, every moment of dizziness, and every sign of discomfort takes on a much darker meaning. The fear is no longer temporary pain but permanent loss. What makes this storyline especially compelling is how it attacks the very core of Nikki's character. Throughout her life, Nikki has fought tirelessly to maintain control over her circumstances. She learned early that weakness often invited exploitation, and over the years she built emotional walls that protected her from vulnerability. Her marriage to Victor Newman, while filled with passion and loyalty, has also reinforced her need to appear strong. Nikki understands that the Newman family thrives on power, confidence, and image. Admitting that she may be seriously ill feels, to her, like surrendering one of the last pieces of control she possesses. That fear helps explain why Nikki chooses to keep her diagnosis hidden. While some viewers may see her decision as selfish, others will recognize it as deeply human. When faced with terrifying medical news, people often struggle to share their fears with loved ones. Nikki's secrecy is not necessarily about deception, it is about preserving dignity. She wants time to process the diagnosis before becoming the center of everyone else's concern. Unfortunately, the longer she keeps the truth hidden, the more complicated the situation becomes. Victor Newman's eventual discovery of the truth seems inevitable. Victor has spent decades positioning himself as the protector of his family, and he rarely accepts being excluded from important decisions. Once he learns about Nikki's condition, his reaction is likely to be explosive. On one hand, he will be devastated by the possibility of losing the woman he loves. On the other hand, he will feel deeply hurt that Nikki chose not to trust him with something so important. That emotional conflict could create some of the most powerful scenes the show has delivered in years. The potential blindness storyline also offers an opportunity to explore a different side of Nikki. For years, viewers have known her as a glamorous socialite whose confidence often commanded every room she entered. If she loses her vision, she will be forced to redefine herself in ways she never imagined. Rather than relying on appearance or social status, she may discover new strengths rooted in resilience, intelligence, and emotional courage. Such a transformation could breathe fresh life into a character who has already experienced nearly every traditional soap opera catastrophe. Another fascinating aspect of this story is its impact on the wider Newman family. Victoria, Nick, and Claire each bring unique emotional perspectives to the crisis. Victoria, always protective of her mother, may find herself carrying the burden of secrets that threaten to tear the family apart. Nick, who often struggles with his own personal demons, could be forced to confront difficult emotions about mortality and family responsibility. Claire, meanwhile, may become an unexpected source of support. As one of the newest members of the Newman family, she has not yet accumulated decades of resentment and baggage. Her compassion could make her uniquely qualified to help Nikki navigate this frightening chapter. The storyline also highlights an important theme that resonates beyond the world of soap operas: the fear of losing independence. For many people, the possibility of blindness represents far more than a medical condition. It symbolizes the loss of freedom, self-sufficiency, and confidence. Nikki's terror is understandable because she has spent her entire life fighting to maintain control over her destiny. The idea of depending on others feels almost unbearable to someone who prides herself on strength. Meanwhile, the writers cleverly connect Nikki's struggle to the larger atmosphere of uncertainty surrounding Genoa City. Secrets, hidden agendas, and emotional isolation seem to be affecting nearly every major character. Diane is fighting her own battle for survival. Jack is consumed by personal conflicts. Victor remains locked in multiple wars on both personal and professional fronts. Nikki's illness becomes another piece of a much larger puzzle, emphasizing how fragile even the most powerful people can be. Melody Thomas Scott's performance is likely to be the emotional centerpiece of this storyline. Having portrayed Nikki for more than 4 decades, she understands the character's strengths and vulnerabilities better than anyone. Scenes depicting Nikki's fear, frustration, and determination could become some of the most memorable moments of her career. The challenge of portraying a woman gradually losing confidence while desperately trying to maintain her composure offers tremendous dramatic potential. Whether the writers ultimately choose a miracle recovery or a long-term disability storyline remains uncertain. Soap operas are famous for dramatic reversals, miraculous treatments, and unexpected recoveries. Yet even if Nikki eventually regains her sight, the emotional consequences of this ordeal will leave lasting scars. Trust has already been damaged. Relationships will be tested. Family loyalties will be questioned. Most importantly, Nikki herself may emerge from the experience forever changed. At its heart, this storyline succeeds because it transforms a beloved icon into something profoundly relatable. Beneath the designer clothes, corporate power, and Newman wealth is a woman confronting one of humanity's most universal fears: the fear of losing control over her own life. Viewers may not understand the pressures of being Nikki Newman, but they understand fear, vulnerability, and uncertainty. That emotional truth is what makes this story resonate. Whether Nikki ultimately triumphs or suffers a heartbreaking setback, audiences will be watching because her struggle reflects something deeply human. For perhaps the first time in years, Nikki Newman is not battling an external enemy. She is battling herself, her fears, and the terrifying unknown waiting in the darkness ahead.